It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show. It is a Thursday morning. Live, large and in charge we are. And very much alive, feeling more invigorated because of all these Spekboom around us. We've been exploring everything that we need to know about the Spekboom this morning. And of course, alongside Plantify head gardener Andreas Keller. And he's back to discuss exactly how to introduce a beautiful plant into your home. We learned earlier on from Ernest van Jaarsveld about how to plant it outdoors. Now, how do you introduce it into your home, from the planting to the placement and all of the above?
Because obviously we know that you can basically just leave it under a rock on the ground and that it'll grow. But in your home, you would like a kind of more fully formed plant that adds to the beautification of your space. You don't want to just be leaving, you know, offcuts in pots. So where do we begin?
Okay, so you obviously need a plant. I mean, let's start really with the basics. So a nice healthy plant, you're going to need a destination pot. So, you know, we're going to put the plant in, some drainage chips, just to kind of, you know, create a filter. Because if you're going to have a drainage hole, then you kind of want to cover that so the soil doesn't run out. And you need some soil. And preferably a soil which is like a succulent or cactus mix, which has got good, so quite a lot of sand in it, so that it's quick draining and not moisture retaining.
Okay, all right. All right, good stuff. Now, coming to the planting process, how do we go about it?
Cool, so you kind of want to add a layer of drainage chips into your destination pot.
Well, we lost the drainage.
We lost a few already.
Pebble. Do you need bigger ones?
They'll find their place.
Yeah, they kind of settle down. Then you want to add a little bit of soil.
Okay, so it's not a big layer of drainage.
Exactly.
Space there,
Yeah, I was thinking you go at least like that high.
It's really just to create a filter, not really to
Just to stop
bulk up.
to stop the sand from
Yes.
coming up. Cool, okay.
Cool, so once you got these guys in, you
Just
kind
a
of want to
little
just,
bit, okay.
you know, just loosen it from the edges.
Okay.
Okay, so we need a bit more soil.
Why do you need more soil? How did you determine that?
Just to, because we can
It's the
see
height,
that, yeah, the height. Otherwise, it would have sat too low in the pot.
Okay, all right.
So we can see that that is, you know, kind of a good height.
Yeah.
Just kind of center it in the pot and then add some soil around the edges.
Okay.
Like that. And then you'll eventually just kind of like press it down.
Uh-huh.
And what you can also do is, which quite a good practice is actually, which I didn't do now, is actually just to loosen the soil a little
around
bit.
the roots.
Exactly.
I was actually wondering about that because you kept it pretty solid. Why do you do that? Why do you loosen the roots?
Just
soil around
to give the roots some more space to actually like take root.
Okay.
Okay,
To grow,
so to prompt them to go out and make new little pathways. So now we planted it, and you did some just minor pressing there just to push the down plant, but not too
Not too vigorously. You don't want to compact the soil. You just want to make sure that it's in place. Once you water it, you might find that the soil sinks down a little bit lower. You might just want to top it up a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Good
So
stuff.
now we planted it. How do we care for it? What does it need?
What does it need? Okay, so it's a succulent, so it requires a lot of light. In the home environment, we'd advise not to place it in direct sunlight, so like midday, not the hot part.
Okay.
Unless you have a plant that is already used to that. So if you buy it from the nursery, it might not be ready for that kind of intense heat. So a windowsill with bright morning sunlight, some direct, softer sunlight is perfect. You want to water it when it dries out, because it's a succulent, it is water-wise. But once the kind of soil dries out a little bit, give it a thorough watering, but make sure that it doesn't sit in water, because it doesn't like waterlogged roots. It'll actually compromise the plant, and it could collapse.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were also talking about earlier on about the fact that it is a plant, of course, so it can get attacked by pests if it does get compromised. What other situations could lead to the compromising of the growth of the plant?
Probably the primary one is overwatering.
Okay.
And so that's when you have too little light and too much water. When that balances out, all the same amount of light, but just you know, you're watering every 2-3 days. So really, probably on average, once a week, once every 10 days, even once every 2 weeks should be enough. But if the plant is compromised, so if the roots do rot, the plant won't like it and pests will attack it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, so big question now. Yeah.
Do you need to trim it? How do you do that? I mean, we've been gleefully snapping off branches to taste them all morning. Yeah. How do you kind of prune it? Does it need pruning? How does that work?
It kind of depends on the look that you want to go for. You can see like this Spekboom is kind of sending out branches and There's different varieties, so you get, a variety that grows very kind of upright. You get also a ground cover variety, prostrata, which kind of grows outwards. So depending on which variety you have, you kind of see its growing habit and then trim it accordingly. So if you prefer to grow upright, by all means, trim the sides and it'll send shoots up.
Do its thing.
And once you've planted it and you found the beautiful place to place it in your house, it's receiving enough sunlight and it's getting enough water and it's prospering, can you just go ahead and break off a leaf and, okay, we're eating Spekboom today?
So we'd advise, not to hammer the guy immediately after repotting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got to find its place. So maybe give it a couple of weeks, maybe a month's time, let it root properly, and then by all means, take some sprigs and get involved. But with, repotting, introducing it into a new environment can add some stress to the plant.
Okay.
So if you want it to last, be really healthy for a long time, rather let it settle first.
Do you recommend talking to it at all?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Singing?
Oh, singing's perfect.
Wow.
Yeah. You're going to give us a rendition?
I can't sing you.
No, that's a bit too poppy. Need something more sweet.
I'm just going to keep it close to wherever I'm breathing. That's going to be my thing.
Andreas, thank you very much. Now, good news that we're giving away a trio of Spekbooms in terracotta
Ooh, nice.
pots for your home, conveniently shipped to you. And if you want to win this great prize, go to our Expresso Facebook page and comment on the Plantify competition post, telling us where in your home you would place the trio of Spekbooms. And terms and conditions can be found on our website, expressoshow.com. When does it close again?
It's at midnight tonight, and we've given you those details. We've told you where it should be planted in your home, so you better get this right.